Y'all, we have got to discuss last night's episode of Basketball Wives and the showdown that I was not anticipating. Okay. Um, we back in the building, y'all. Me and my allergies are back. We are here to talk about Basketball Wives, episode 2 of season 11. Can you believe we are 11 seasons into this franchise? I mean, who would have thought that it would last this long? But it has, and here we are. Okay. Um, Side note, I'm drinking some coffee. It's got cinnamon in it, so if you see the top of the cup is, the cinnamon tends to stain the top of the clear glass. So if you see that, that's why. So let's get into the episode, okay? For me, I'm gonna let y'all know it was difficult for me to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, as we typically do on this channel. Also, if you are here for the first time, we are gonna be doing a deep dive. I don't do drive by reviews or nothing like that. It's gonna be all up in the weeds, the nooks, the crannies, and we're gonna get into everything. So my content is based on my need to discuss things in detail as well as digress a little bit, as well as I think, for people who want, something to do while they're at work, to be entertained, to talk about the show, drink their coffee, drink their tea, have their lunch, whatever you might be doing. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, having said all that, this episode for me was very difficult to really rate because I felt like the episode was a bit of a mess. Like, and what I'm starting to realize is perhaps Basketball Wives is edited for the TikTok generation. And what I mean by that is scenes were happening so fast. There were scenes that that didn't even really have a lot of meat. It's kind of like these little brief check-ins. It to me reminded me of how I feel about TikTok. It's just like you're constantly seeing, like, you just flipping and flipping and flipping, and you're going to just see the most random stuff for about 1 to 3 minutes. That's what this episode felt like to me. Not to mention, I felt like the continuity was all over the place. I mean, I just felt like, they dropped Clayana in there, they're dropping Brittany in there. I mean, we still haven't dealt with Jackie and Brooke. It's just a lot to me. Um, but I do understand what they did when they brought Evelyn back. Whether you like her or loathe her, I'm here to give you guys the review based on what I see. Okay. And I feel like I get it. Evelyn makes for a great narrator for this show. And I felt like that was something that they were missing over the past few years. And perhaps it's because she's been in this franchise for such a long time. She knows exactly how to narrate. It takes a specific type of person to be able to narrate a show. Um, it is what it is. I understand it. I also feel like we are seeing, Brooke emerge as a top tier player in this franchise, whether you like her or not. Okay, to me, the episode I thought was going to really be the showdown between Evelyn and Vanessa as they continue their beef from the previous episode, which we didn't even get it. We didn't even get that at the top of the episodes, but so we knew that from what the clip that they had posted online yesterday from our discussion from last night about the unedited footage, we knew that they were going to get into it again. So I thought that that was going to be the confrontation that really took us into the next episode, but I was wrong. It was actually Brooke, to me, that stole the show in last night's episode with what I would consider this day and age's Phaedra level read to Kenya. Okay. Um, Granted, it didn't shake the table like Phaedra did. Don't get me wrong, because Phaedra, I mean, that at the time, and I'm talking about at that time, right? It was epic. But to me, it was so epic, that moment with Brooke and Vanessa, because I really wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting anything beyond the two of them getting into it and Evelyn being escorted off. So when I got it, I was like, oh, okay. And we also got to talk about this whole situation with Vanessa. As much as I try to understand it, I just don't understand it. I'm trying my hardest to put myself in her position, but I only can come to a couple of different conclusions, and we'll get to those conclusions as we get to that point in the episode. Okay. So for me, I'm gonna have to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna rate it a 7.9. I'm giving it the extra point, almost the extra point nine, because of the Brooke of it all at the end of the episode. Okay. So let's get into the actual details of the episode as they take us on this fully circuitous roller coaster ride of an episode that made me feel like I saw a whole season in one episode. Okay. We start this episode, it's called Homewreckers. We start this episode with Evelyn meeting up with Shawnee, who is in town to receive a Woman of Excellence award. So it was nice that they wove her in here in a very organic way. Evelyn recaps Vanessa calling her a homewrecker. Apparently, Carl's baby mama is gonna have, Evelyn and Carl's son in a couple of days. So the relationship seems to be, a good relationship for all intents and purposes. And for me, I feel like I'm sure that takes a specific level of work, humility, and teamwork to build a family, to merge families in that way. So there's a part of me that really does understand, like, okay, I can understand why Evelyn is so annoyed at this situation, because it does take a lot of work to get to that level and to that point where everybody can co-parent and do so in a way that is best for the kids, right? Evelyn says she feels bad for Vanessa, because Jackie told her that the husband was cheating, and she's got the bang yangs. So she feels sorry for the bang yangs. Anyway, Jackie does meet up. Speaking of bangs, Jackie meets up with Vanessa for a hike. Jackie is shocked about the situation with Vanessa and Evelyn, aka Evelyn. And Vanessa says that Ev has a thing for sleeping with people's husbands. And Vanessa, so to me, does this idea that Evelyn is this sort of, she's a man eater, make it work hard. Is that what triggers her about Evelyn? Because as we will later see, it is definitely Vanessa who has some issues with this idea that she needs to be the warden for her husband and to ensure that he is behaving himself while she is away. So my question is she triggered by Evelyn in some way, shape, or form because of her belief that Evelyn is a man stealer? You know what I'm saying? So y'all let me know in the chatterization. Is that it? Is that the mystery? Is that it? And Miss Vanessa, if you happen to be watching, you can chime in too. Okay, because I just want to know. I'm trying to understand, babe. Because right now, babes, I don't get it. So anyway, Vanessa is open to having another conversation, because Jackie is all about the sisterhood, and I wrote in my notes, I was like, these scenes be so quick. I mean, it's like 60 seconds and we out. Because that hike couldn't have been more than 3 minutes. Jennifer and Christian are chit-chatting. She tells him about Ev and Vanessa's blow up. That was all it was to the scene. I want to see more of them. Like, give me a little bit more. Like, I feel like we in and out of scenes so fast. Like, it'd be like it's like turnstile up in this beat. I'm like, can we dive into the meat and can we get into some things with these people so we can get to know them, so that when apparently whatever happens with his character arc does come up, then we can have a better understanding of who he is and what he stands for, to make our own judgments about how we should be feeling about him. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for character development. And to me, I feel like that is a nuanced thing. And you have to spend time with the character in order for us to really get to know them. And I just feel like they can't be bothered to do that on this show. I mean, it's like boom, 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 boom. Okay. TikTok, 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 TikTok. So anyway, Jaceel meets up with Brittany. Like, I mean, did they just become bosom buddies after the party for Evelyn? Like, is that how that worked? Did we see them connect in some way, shape, or form that would lead us to believe that they're now just hanging out so they could have scenes together when we don't really know enough about either one of them to know anything or to care about why they're getting together? But Jaceel hopes everybody can get along. And again, I wrote in my notes, they're filming this as if we know a lot about these new ladies, and we just don't. Evelyn FaceTimes Levon. He wants to talk about the wedding dates, and she has anxiety with the timeline and the pressure and all of these things. And I'm like, girl, why did you go on this show to find you a man when you really don't want to be married? Then why did you get engaged? Because otherwise, it's really given, oh, let's have an engagement for some of the ladies that were on this show. No disrespect to everybody that had a part in that show, because I don't want to really totally decimate the work that might have went to creating that show. But it's really given, like, how come these couples ain't working out? They all supposed to be engaged. How come they not working out all of a sudden? Like, I mean, maybe these types of TV shows really just don't work for that type of thing, right? But otherwise, it's given like I just needed a story to come back on the show and have something to do. That's what it's given to me. And I hate to say that, but I got to be real. And maybe we have just watched reality TV for so long that me, myself, he, me, him is just now skeptical of everything and everyone when they come out with something and it just be so fly in the pan, like flat, like it be so fast and then it be over so quick, Sheree and Martell, that you just kind of have to believe. You look at everything with your third eye, and you be like, something don't feel right about this situation. And that's what it's given to me. Because why are you having all of these anxieties about something that, I mean, you guys don't have to, you guys can get married when you want to get married at the end of the day. I mean, it was your guys, it was your idea to come out with this, to come out with the you're talking about pressure from everybody else, from the world, when you are the person who is responsible for putting this information out into the world. You didn't have to do that. I mean, unless that was just a clause in the contract for that Queen's Court show that you got to become engaged if you meet somebody. I mean, otherwise, that was your fault. Anyway, and I tried to tell y'all, listen, if you don't want everybody all up in your business, then don't let them know. He wants to come out there and talk about it because he's in Atlanta. So Brooke and Evelyn link up. Evelyn brings her flowers. They recap Vanessa. Ev just chalks it up to Vanessa being crazy like Jackie. Brittany is invited to this lunch. Now, I don't know a lot about Brittany, to be honest with you. So the things that they're talking about as it relates to her social media presence, I'm only just finding out about these things. Like, it just had come out around the time that we had heard that she was joining about the whole Shaquille O'Neal thing, which the timing of that was very interesting. But outside of that, I feel like for me, I don't have a lot of history outside of, in terms of knowing who she is, outside of what the ladies on this show tell us. So that is, I mean, I'm coming into this a little bit handicapped. So having said that, I feel like I'm just trying to get to know Brittany, and I'm trying to figure out what energy she's giving. So far I like it. I like it because she feels fresh. I mean, to me, she doesn't feel like she's trying to be anything, trying to do anything yet. Okay. Um, they talk a little bit about some of the lifestyle choices that Brittany has made with regard to dating, putting her information out there. Brittany lets us know she just wants to show up authentically as herself, and she reveals that co-parenting with PJ, whomever he is, I'm assuming he was a basketball player because the premise of the show, um, that's his name. Now, mm, mm, there's a part of me that wonders if Brittany is giving me Drea energy, or if she belongs on Orlando. But that would be difficult because she didn't live in Orlando. Maybe it's because she skews younger than the rest of the cast. Maybe that's why I get the Drea vibes. Maybe that's why I also get the Orlando vibes. And based on her story, it's very similar to Morgan and Danielle's stories on Basketball Wives Orlando. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Do you feel like she's a good fit? Let me know. I guess we'll see more as time goes on. Um, the next thing we get is with Brittany and her mom. They chat about her breakup with PJ. She chose herself. That was it. Hi, mom. Evelyn visits Shawnee and brings her flowers to her dressing room at the Women of Excellence Awards, the event. And apparently, Evelyn, and Levon did premarital counseling with Sean and Keon, which I'm like, did we see that? Was that on the Queen's Court? I don't know. Anyway, she has a feeling that something is not right. She's got the anxiety about this wedding, and she just feels like something is just not right. I'll tell you what ain't right. Listen, piggybacking off that idea, if you feel like something ain't right, this is probably a telltale sign that this ain't the relationship for you. And just keep it pushing. We are all, I mean, life is moving too fast for us to be wasting people's times at this big age. Okay. So for me, if you know what, if you got the feeling in your guts, and you want to be married, but you're just not sure about marrying him, girl, go ahead and end this thing before we get too deep involved and too deep invested. And he be like Jelani from last season with Jennifer. So meanwhile, speaking of Jennifer, let me just go ahead and say this because shout out to her. We are finally going to be able to see this documentary, My True Scam Story, Jennifer Williams, on Monday, November the 6th, right before the new episode of Basketball Wives. Now, that's going to be a very busy weekend for a lot of people. That's going to be the weekend of BravoCon. That is going to be a weekend where we have Love and Marriage Huntsville. We're going to have Potomac and Married to Medicine coming back. Then the next day, we're going to be having Jennifer's documentary show. Shout out to her. It's actually coming to fruition. And it actually does look pretty good. It looks like one of them little Hulu specials. You know what I'm saying? Um, Jackie arrives to the Ponderosa, and she reveals that she didn't know the history between Evelyn and Vanessa was that deep, and reveals that Vanessa is open to having a conversation. Ev slash Evelyn is like, she should be. She's the one that came in all rah-rah with the issues. So then we are randomly introduced to Clayana Worthen, and she sits with Jackie and Evelyn, and we learn that Clayana is in LA to try to redefine herself after her relationship. Oh, joy, Evelyn says. I can introduce you to Brittany, who is also in the process of redefining herself after her relationship. Yay! So Shawnee gives her speech and then joins the girls and tells Jackie she wants to have a Ponderosa with all of the girlies, okay? To settle the score, to get everybody on the same page for something that we know is not going to ever happen, okay? But it is the obligatory all cast Ponderosa so we can clear the air, for which the air is never cleared. It is usually just made more murky. Okay. Vanessa's sister Elise stops by and asks if Isaiah is partying like a rock star back in Arizona without her. Well, not so fast. Vanessa says the cameras have displayed that he was in fact not partying with the women's, but indeed partying with his son. Okay. And she would know because she had someone chop and screw the video camera footage. She just dissected it with Cagney and Lacey, aka her girlfriends, Laverne and Shirley. And so they all have come to the conclusion that, girl, you are getting a little rah-rah for nothing. And it's probably best that you just leave this man well alone to just operate on his own accord while he's away in the air. Well, he's at home in the Arizona while you are here working. Okay. Um, this scene goes a long way towards solidifying some of the things that Brooke said later okay? On the surface from a viewer's perspective. Okay, I'm just gonna give y'all that. Our production did her no favors with this scene. She didn't do herself no favors with this scene. Albeit, I do like the honesty of it all. If you don't trust your man, girl, let's. I mean, you might as well know it, okay? But I mean, to a certain degree, girl, you gonna have to either let him cheat in peace, because you need to find some peace. Because the last thing you need to be doing is checking camera footage all day while you trying to get your business up and running. You over here checking the camera, checking the video footage at home, got to rewind it, chop, screw it, hire investigators and hacking who do all these other things. It's just a lot, baby. And I don't want you to have to live like that no more. You know what I'm saying? And neither does your sister, because your sister's like, girl, I am concerned. Okay. So meanwhile, there is and I wrote in my notes, we don't even get to dive into the meat and potatoes of a scene before it's over. The next thing we see is a FaceTime montage of everybody calling everybody in the circle to invite them all to the Ponderosa that Shawnee is throwing. Okay. Jackie does consult with Shawnee via FaceTime about Jennifer and Brooke, and Shawnee suggests, like, yo, we receive you as the matriarch of this group. You have a level of respect that we all, try to give you. So at the end of the day, what you should probably just do is just show them your actions and let them see for themselves where you are. Okay. And I agree with that. Sage advice. Good advice. Jennifer then meets up with Jaceel, who I am in love with, who every episode, the past 2 episodes, I want more of, but I continue to get very little of, okay? Because we don't have but 3 seconds to dive into a scene, okay? What I do learn, I like. Jaceel definitely got that southern twang about her. She has hair salons in Dallas and Mississippi, and she has product lines and hairlines, and she's in LA to try to make the brand bigger. And I'm like, she said she got. I mean, she got the. I wonder if she knows Latrice from the Bell Collective. Anyway, they talk about Shawnee's Ponderosa, and Jennifer is iffy about Jackie. She says in one breath she's okay with where they stand. Well, but she can see who Jackie is. So I think that just means I can be cordial with her. I can move in the circle with her. But that's as far as it's gonna go. That's the impression that I get. And that's in that commercial break, that is when we got the promo for Jen's documentary. So shout out to her. Ev FaceTimes Brittany. Hey girl, I know I met a girl named Clayana randomly at the event. And so I want you to meet up with her and y'all can get along. Okay, there you go. Go gadget. Meanwhile, speaking of Clayana, who we just randomly met, she's at home cooking up some, stirring up the juice. Her cousin arrives, who we don't know yet, and he asks about the co-parenting. She says it's difficult. She too might belong on Basketball Wives Orlando, because that seems to be a central theme of that show. Meanwhile, which I'll cover in just 1 second because it ain't gonna be long. She tells him about meeting Evelyn, and the rest of the girls. Meanwhile, Brooke and Evelyn, are in the car headed to the event. Ed is really more focused on Levon and trying to run away from him. And then they chit-chat a little bit about Brittany hanging out with Shaquille O'Neal and how it hit the internet. Apparently, it was all over the World Wide Web that Brittany Renner was having dinner or something like that with Shaq, who is Shawnee's ex. Meanwhile, Shawnee has a whole new relationship with a man down to the Houston, for which she seems very happy. Okay. Which for me, I don't even understand why she even doing this show. Because I'm like, girl, once you find your happiness, I mean, just go ahead and let it be and live in peace. If you can. You know what I'm saying? Why involve yourself in this mess? But I guess she said, you know what? I got to make the things go round. Okay. They needed me on this show. They needed me last season. So I'm going to do my part this season. Anyway, it's the night of the Ponderosa, and Jackie and Shawnee have arrived at the event. They hope that things can just be worked out. And Jackie is like, listen, I want to know how you about to deal with Brittany because of this Shaquille O'Neal news. And Shawnee's like, girl, enjoy. If that's what you want, I got a man. Okay. Shawnee's got a man at home. Okay. The rest of the girls arrive, all except Miss Vanessa. And I'm like, did they purposely keep her late? Meanwhile, Jen actually arrives and speaks to Jackie, which shocks Jackie, and it makes Jackie feels like Jennifer is finally taking accountability for all the things she did for her last year. And I'm like, Jackie, I don't think that's what it means. I think that she is just hugging you and being nice to keep the peace. They take shots. Ev then says, Brittany, I know you're looking for a husband, but do you think it's Shaquille O'Neal? Brittany, I gotta admire. Now, the timing is suspect, but I gotta admire how she handled herself in that situation. I mean, she was like cool, calm, collected. She didn't make a big deal of it. And that just goes for what's something I think about in real life. Life is about how you handle it, right? And I feel like, oftentimes like situations are thrown at us, and we could all take a cue from how Brittany handled that situation. It was honestly like, yeah, he's somebody that's just been real supportive of my cause or whatever, or like that. And he was gonna pay for the dinner. I was hungry, so I did have to eat. And so I just, I dropped by for a little din. I mean, it was what it was. It was in which I eat, it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? It was absolutely nothing. And Evelyn and Jennifer are both like, well, the timing. Yeah, 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 yeah. And Jennifer's like, maybe a heads up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so Brittany's okay. I come in peace, essentially. I ain't trying to like I'm just open to meeting people, and it's not even that serious. And Shawnee even tells her, I appreciate you coming in with a positive attitude. And I was like, so do I. Because for as much as I feel like this show is, steeped in the drama, it's refreshing to sometimes see someone take a path that actually avoids the drama. Okay, unless they were all prepped for the scene, like this is really about Evelyn and Vanessa. Okay, finally, Miss Vanessa does arrive, and Shawnee is like, "Well, I've heard some not so great things about you, you know." Which leaves Vanessa thinking that Evelyn has been running around town talking about her. And Shawnee's like, can we resolve it? Vanessa says, well, it's like, I didn't really mean to bring that up at your event. And Ev is like, so you thought that bringing it up someplace else was going to make it better? You have an issue with me for no reason. But Vanessa is like, I had an issue with you for my friend. And I was hoping we could talk through it woman to woman. Okay. Barbara and Shirley style. Okay. Ev is like, first of all, I talked to your friend several times. And she told me she was mortified. And this is all a lie. This is all a lie. Okay.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
So at that point, I'm like, I don't think I was expecting that. I thought that maybe Evelyn and Miss Amy, the person in question, were like cool, but I didn't really know that she was like, oh yeah, because I mean, it makes sense though. Like if the kids are involved, you probably got to have conversations, especially if you co-parenting at the level that they seem to be co-parenting at with such ease. I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense, I guess. I would call her and ask her, well, what the heck is going on with Miss Vanessa? So that does make sense. So then it does make me wonder why Miss Vanessa has an issue with somebody for something that don't involve her that happened 10 years ago. I just don't get it. And I'm trying. But I'm also learning at a certain point in life that when something just doesn't make sense, it don't matter how much you try to rationalize it, it just don't make sense. And I feel like that's where I'm at with it at this point. Vanessa, for Evelyn, she's worried about the kids because her son is with the baby's mama right now, sleeping at her house. And she says what Vanessa did was wrong because they have a great relationship, and you, Miss Vanessa, do not matter in the grand scheme of this relationship. So Jackie and Shawnee try to smooth things out and like, okay, whatever was said, everybody just forget about it. And I think Jennifer's like, Evelyn, do you feel like that? And Evelyn is like, nope. You know what? I'm not gonna let this go because it's bigger than her and she crossed the line. And Vanessa is like, why can't I as a friend say that I witnessed the pain that you want to act like didn't happen? Now, I'm not going to disregard that maybe she did witness her friend in pain, but I feel like maybe a year later, you could still be mad for your friend. I can't stop your feelings, but it's not a productive use of your feelings, to be honest with you. Because if you are holding on, and I would say this to any of you who are listening, if you are holding a grudge for something that happened 10 years ago, I would say that, I mean, you might want to work on that. I would also say that if you're holding on to a grudge for something that did not involve you, you might want to work on that. Because holding a grudge on that level is like drinking poison and hoping that it will affect the other person. No, you're the only person that's drinking the poison. You're the only person that still has this issue. You have an issue with me. I don't know you. That is your issue. Don't bring it to me. It's none of my business because I only have room in my hospital for me, okay? Not you. I cannot accept any more patients. I don't want no more, okay? I am taking up space here, okay? I don't have space for you. So Ev is like, you're cool with her. So we could have been cool. But it's women like you that want to come over here and F with my peace, and it's exhausting. And what are we here? And we're here arguing over what? And Vanessa, I could have swore she said exactly. And I was like, huh? You had that we're arguing because not me, but I feel like it's happening to me. Finally, it is happening to me. I feel like I'm in it because I feel like I've been involved. I feel like I am in, okay, like I'm in Will and Jada's relationship. I digress. Them people ain't got nothing to do with me. I feel like let them resolve their marriage in the peace that God has for them. You know what I'm saying? However they want to do it and however they want to sell their books. So meanwhile, but I feel like I'm caught up in this mess and I don't want to be because I don't understand it. So Ev is like, now Carl and Amy are arguing, and for what? So now the situation, you have caused your friend to have an issue in present day because you had an issue 10 years ago with somebody you don't know. So at that point, Ev is like, you're embarrassing. Amy is embarrassed. Vanessa's like, stop calling her. I was like, oh, that's the unmitigated gall. I love it. I absolutely, you know what? I can't even be mad at it. Give us something to work with, Miss Vanessa. Give us something to work with. Cheers to you. Okay. What an event. And so Evelyn then starts yelling, I'm gonna call her every time I want. She's with my son. Okay. Shawnee is like, okay, time to go. She gets Evelyn up because Evelyn is telling her to go worry about her aesthetician and then calls the child ugly. No, we ain't got to call the child ugly. Okay, because I don't think she's ugly at all. And to go worry about who her dude is screwing. Now, see, security comes out of nowhere, and Vanessa gets up and tells her, go run behind security, as Evelyn calls her an idiot. Now, Brooke, see, this is the part I wasn't ready for. Now, I thought it was going to be, again, I said it before, I thought it was going to be Vanessa versus Evelyn, and it was going to either be settled or not settled. Based on this unedited footage, I'm like, girl, what? I need to see what you saying the unedited footage shows. Because, I mean, based on the argument, I have to say that for as much as I want to understand Miss Vanessa's perspective, Evelyn's perspective makes more sense. And that's just the point end in the period to me. Because I do feel like this whole co-parenting situation and what they got going on, like, let's not mess that up right now, because I'm sure that's the story that a lot of these ladies have on this show is, at least in this very season, is that the co-parenting is the most difficult thing. We see it time and time again with a lot of the ladies that come through these shows. So, especially with the athletes. So, when you finally get it to that space where it's okay and everybody's good, it's like, I don't need nobody to come in here and mess that up, right? I can imagine that being the case. So, Brooke tells Vanessa, girl, you missing the whole point of this, okay? Vanessa is like, you guys are saying it's been 10 years ago, but I'm still going to defend the people. Girl, the people is mad at you, okay? From what Evelyn's saying, the people are upset with you in present day for something that you pissed about from a decade ago, okay? I don't even remember barely what I was doing in 2013. Do you? Do you? I don't remember. I don't even remember what music I was listening to. I do not recall what I was wearing. I can't even at the time recall where I was living, okay? I'm sure if I sat down and I really thought about it, I really could tell you what I was doing. But at the end of the day, it's like, do I even care at this point? I have lived those moments. They are behind me. So anyway, Brooke is like, did Amy ask you to do that? And I was like, this is a fair question. Vanessa's like, nope. Then why are you doing it? That is what Brooke asked her. She's like, your marbles are loose and you need to tighten them up and worry about your own ish. You can't counsel somebody else's household when your ish is effed up, which is why I said earlier, the scene with Miss Vanessa talking about the camera footage being chopped up by Cagney and Lacey and Laverne and Shirley, her girlfriends, because I feel like there's a little bit of truth to this. Brooke then says, as a wife and a mother and a woman, you got to be accountable for your actions. You need to be worried about going home and checking them cameras and seeing what your husband has been doing all day. Okay. Now, see, that's the moment that gave me Phaedra while she's peddling sperm banks. Okay. Trying to figure out who her baby daddy is gonna be. It just had that little energy to it. I was like, now, Brooke, okay. I was like, I was not expecting this. And I felt like, I was like, okay, now this is what I came to see. Okay. The funny thing about it is, similar to Kenya in that moment, Vanessa had nothing to say. Nothing. Zero energy in this moment. So that's what also made me go back to that Phaedra Kenya moment. And at that point in real time, Brooke tells her, you need to stop deflecting your misery on to someone else. And I wrote in my notes, and Vanessa Babes is silent as a church mouse. Okay. At least based on the scene. Now, I don't know if the unedited footage shows something else. Maybe she got rah-rah. Maybe she flipped the table. I don't know. But what I know is somebody was sitting beside Vanessa. And in my mind, it was Miss Clayana. Now, why they cut her out of the scene, I don't know. Now, Miss Clayana, if you watching this, which I doubt that you are, because I'm sure you're busy. But if you're watching this, then can somebody confirm, was Miss Clayana sitting there in the scene beside Vanessa? If you go back and look at and you look at it in slow motion, you will see at some point, you see somebody who looks to be Clayana sitting beside Miss Vanessa at that Ponderosa. And I'm wondering, why did they not show her? Did they not? I mean, they've already shown her in the episode, so why not show her in the scene? So I'm just curious about that. Let me know in the chatterization down below. So also, let's talk about Basketball Wives Orlando real quick. I did say I was going to give it another watch to see what it's given. I will tell you that I felt like this episode was a bit more story-driven in terms of backstories and understanding some of the pain that some of the ladies are going through with regards to like co-parenting and whatnot, as we spoke about earlier. So I felt like greater context was given in this episode. And now looking back retroactively, what I think about both Basketball Wives Los Angeles and Orlando was that I felt like they knew that they wanted to make episodes 1 for each of the seasons, for each of the series, a big splash. And they were going to do it by hook or by crook. Because that is, to me, the only reason why I could understand the series of events being so out of sequence in these first 2 episodes. But I'm going to give Basketball Wives Orlando yet another watch, because if they're going to tell the story in the way that I feel like they're going, I feel like it could get better for me. But again, I oftentimes, like I said in the beginning of this video, I feel like Basketball Wives is edited for the TikToks, and so I'm just not used to that. So let me know in the chat what you guys think, or if they just maybe want to make it very fast paced because they want to keep people's attention. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts were about the episodes and what you would rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, and I will of course catch you in the next video.